Fluid dynamics is the study of how fluids, liquids, and gases move and interact with their surroundings. It encompasses the behavior of fluids in motion and at rest, focusing on concepts like velocity, pressure, density, and temperature. Understanding fluid dynamics is crucial in various fields, including engineering, meteorology, oceanography, and medicine. Key concepts in fluid dynamics. Continuity equation. This principle states that the mass of a fluid remains constant as it moves through different sections of a pipe or channel. As a fluid flows, if the area of the flow decreases, its velocity increases, and vice versa. Bernoulli's principle. This principle explains how pressure varies in a moving fluid. In simple terms, as the speed of a fluid increases, its pressure decreases. This principle helps explain how airplanes generate lift and why a garden hose nozzle sprays water farther when it's narrowed at the end. Vortex math. Vortex math is a concept that explores the patterns and relationships found in numbers, particularly focusing on the behavior of energy and fluid dynamics in a vortex. It often involves the study of geometric shapes, angles, and mathematical relationships that describe how fluids behave in swirling patterns. Vortex. A vortex is a flow pattern in a fluid where the fluid rotates around an axis. Vortices can be seen in nature, like whirlpools in water or tornadoes in the atmosphere. They can enhance mixing and energy transfer within the fluid. Vortex math applications. Vortex math explores the numerical relationships in vortex formations, suggesting that these patterns can be used to harness and manipulate energy. Some proponents believe that understanding these patterns can lead to innovations in energy efficiency and fluid movement. Vortex generators. Vortex generators are devices designed to create vortices in a fluid flow. They can improve the efficiency of fluid movement in various applications, including water treatment. In water treatment processes, vortex generators can enhance the mixing of water and chemicals, leading to more effective treatment. The swirling motion helps distribute substances evenly, improving reactions and filtration. Hydraulic systems. In engineering, vortex generators can be used in hydraulic systems to optimize flow, reduce drag, and increase the efficiency of pumps and turbines. By creating controlled vortices, these devices can enhance the performance of the system. Agriculture. Some agricultural practices use vortex generators to improve irrigation efficiency. Vortexing water can increase oxygenation, which is beneficial for plant growth and can help in the treatment of irrigation water. Sending water through vortexes. The idea of sending water through vortexes to increase its properties, like oxygenation or energization, is popular in some alternative health and agricultural circles. The concept suggests that creating a vortex in water can improve its structure, enhance nutrient absorption, and even make it more biologically active. While some studies support the benefits of vortexing, it's essential to approach these claims with a critical.
Whether or not it makes the water more energized, do you not agree that molecularly it is possible to send water through vortex to molecularly change their structure into six-sided hexagons?
The idea that water can be structured into specific molecular forms, like hexagonal patterns, by passing through a vortex is a fascinating concept, but it's important to clarify how water molecules actually behave. Water structure. Water is composed of two hydrogen atoms bonded to one oxygen atom, forming a molecule with a bent shape rather than a rigid structure. When we talk about molecular structures like hexagons, we often refer to how water molecules can interact and cluster together in certain conditions, forming temporary arrangements. Vortex effects. When water flows through a vortex, it creates turbulence and promotes mixing. This can increase oxygenation and potentially change the way water molecules interact with each other. But the idea of permanently restructuring water molecules into a specific geometric formation, like hexagons, isn't supported by conventional science. 1. Temporary arrangements. While vortexing can lead to temporary clusters of water molecules, these arrangements are dynamic and constantly changing. The properties of water, like hydrogen bonding, allow for a wide range of structures, but they do not form stable hexagonal arrangements like some crystalline.
So, how do you increase the bond angle to 114 of water, hydrogen bond?
The bond angle in water, H2O, is approximately 104 degrees due to the arrangement of the hydrogen atoms around the oxygen.
Explain why 50 years ago the hydrogen bond angle in water was 108 degrees and you rarely had anyone with cancer.
The bond angle in water is actually about 104 degrees, not 108. However, let's address the broader context of the hydrogen bond angle in water and the incidence of cancer over the past decades. About hydrogen bond angle in water. The bond angle of about 104 degrees in water is due to the arrangement of two hydrogen atoms around the oxygen atom. The geometry is influenced by the repulsion of the lone pairs of electrons on the oxygen, which pushes the hydrogen atoms closer together. Cancer rates and changes over time. The observation that cancer rates seem to have increased over the past 50 years can be attributed to several factors, rather than a direct correlation with the bond angle in water. Here are some key points to consider. 1. Improved detection. Advances in medical technology and screening have led to earlier and more accurate detection of cancer. This means that many cases that may have gone unnoticed in the past are now being diagnosed.
It's a shape-shifting morphine molecule, so that we recognize the scientists like Martin Chaplin, great professors, they realize that water has a strict 104.5 degree angle, but we thought for many decades that it was a strict hinge, but it actually has movement in it. So when water reaches a glacial, purified superstructure, that 104.5 degree angle that we thought was fixed actually can open up like a hinge, and it hits the critical 108 degrees. And for those of you that know a little bit about the five platonic solids, the two shapes called the icosahedron and the dodecahedron are the two shapes that have the 108 degrees. So when we look at the dodecahedron, this is the fifth element, we can see that these 12 pentagon faces, these are all 108 degree angles. But there's a secret inside of this called the icosahedron. So what happens is that when we stellate the dodecahedron, which is the three-dimensional pentagram, when we stellate each face of the dodecahedron in the golden ratio, so you're looking at what's called a golden triangle, we stellate it, we end up with 12 of these, and what it forms is the icosahedron. Because Pythagoras, 2,500 years ago, when they attributed the elements, fire, earth, air, water, when they attributed all the elements of, say, water, they said water is the icosahedron. The shape for water is icosahedron. So how did the ancient Pythagoreans and Plato and all the masters preceding them, they knew that water was icosahedral? Because when we stellate the dodeca, we end up with what's called an icosahedron. And then when you stellate
it's just a triangle, it's a hexagon, right?
When you stellate each of these 20 triangles, you end up with a larger dodeca. So what happens is we end up with a geometric infinity, dodeca, icosa, only if we utilize the 108 degrees. So that's the profound thing of water, is that it's a shape-shifting molecule. And we also know that water can not just go into a triangular structure, it can also go into a square, pentagon, and hexagon. So numerically, water hits the 3, 4, 5, 6. And in numerology, we know that 3 cubed plus 4 cubed plus 5 cubed equals 6 cubed. So there's all this beautiful harmonic relationships, all between the relationship between hydrogen and oxygen. And on the periodic table, we know that hydrogen is number 1. But another thing that the Pythagoreans did was they attributed the symbol for Pythagoras as a blue pentacle. That's why I've drawn the pentagram in blue, and this is the pentagon going around. They attributed 5 Greek letters, H, Y, G, I, A, to the 5 angles, and it actually spelt the name of the goddess Hygeia, the goddess of health and healing. And what that suggests is that there is a beautiful relationship between sacred geometry and integrating our health, so that we can be channels for the cosmos, for the divine. So that's why